Welcome to Flat Earth Debate Live. I'm your host Nathan Oakley, and if you are new to this channel, or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe, hit the bell notification icon and join button if you'd like to become a Nathan Oakley 1980 channel member and keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. If you would like to support the channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside each of these shows while they are live, and there's also a coffee, Patreon, crypto and thanks button in the info box below the video. Most importantly, if you'd like to join the discussion, simply mute the page you are currently watching, then click the link in the info box below this video to join the panel and express your views on the nature of Earth. If you do join, please don't swear. If you do, you'll be ejected, and if you are, please don't try to rejoin the stream using sock accounts. You'll be warmly welcome back on the next stream. Please also share the show on social media. Sharing the show obviously increases the live audience, but this in turn increases the chances of a more diverse panel, so please share the show on Facebook and X. Now, we are joined by Neil, Sensual Goat, and a whole bunch of people in the Politics Discord server. So, welcome one and all.
Hello.
Hello. Good to be here.
Hey, welcome.
We, if you are unfamiliar with Flat Earth Debate and what we do typically, ask a few housekeeping questions when we get here, although I've been here for half an hour, in the politics server that is. Any evidence of a physical geometric sphere edge? That's a horizon, formerly known as Earth curve. Okay then. No Earth curve then. And none of you are familiar with where the concept of Earth curve comes from, perhaps? I.e. Earth curve mathematics and its use of a flat Earth measurement. Were any of you in the server aware of this, or moreover, unaware of the flat Earth measurement required to assert that we have a curve called the horizon? Formerly Earth curve. To assert that the horizon's Earth curve at 1.22 times the square root of the observer site in feet, you are actually required to measure surface level and your height off it with eye level parallel with it. That would be to say that Earth must be a flat surface and eye level must be parallel, and you must measure your height off that with those prerequisites to start the process of the functionality of flat Earth calculations called Earth curve mathematics. Or in short, Earth curve assertions require Earth be measured as a flat plane.
I don't like that, formerly known as Earth curve. I don't like that, and I don't like that gravity was a force 110 years ago. I don't like it because it never was.
No, it never was, but when it was described as a force, incorrectly, that was 110 years ago. It was superseded 110 years ago, to be more accurate, by Newtonian, to bent pseudo-Riemannian fourth-dimensional space-time for the guy in the pre-show that was like, why isn't it fourth? Well, because it's bent space-time and has been for 110 years. That's not a force. Quote, Brian Cox, there isn't really a force of gravity at all, end quote. Or George Musa, gravity isn't a force, end quote. So, yeah, it's not a force. Hasn't been for 110 years. But you're saying, I don't like you saying it was a force 110 years ago. No, it never was a force. Okay, I'll grant you that.
And the horizon was never Earth curve. Because you can't have a horizon on a globe-tod.
On a globe, no, you can't have a horizon on a curved surface. Somebody looked like they were going to join and then didn't. What about any evidence that you can have gas pressure, like we're all breathing, without a container to press upon?
Oh, the ISS.
The ISS is a container alleged to be in a sky vacuum. So the demonstration of the ISS, if it's taken as read, which is kind of contradictory to do, but nevertheless, then it itself obeys the laws of thermodynamics by requiring containment to keep the gas inside it, but yet it's floating around a blue marble with high-pressure gas alleged to be next to a black area of vacuum without the gas dispersing into it. So when they suggest that the tin can in a sky vacuum actually just a stage show here on Earth, obviously, is, violating law area called outer space in orbit, which is a mathematical description also taken from flat Earth measurements of angles to stars. It's preposterous because the spaceship itself, it must obey the law of nature known as the second law of thermodynamics. Gas fills space. But bless, if any of you in here were under the misapprehension that the sky was a vacuum with men in it, I'm afraid not. I hate to shatter those illusions. I'm lying. I don't hate to shatter them. I actually quite enjoy it. I take a slightly sadistic pleasure in taking space away from people. I don't know why. It's one of those things. Any space believers in here? Any men who still think we're going to the moon? Anybody think Katy Perry just went up to an area of volume that gas isn't filling?
What do you mean she did it? There was a whole news thing on it. They were cheering on the women, the astronauts.
Go the women. Shout out to Brian Bender. I feel like the non, open brackets TFE, he means non-final experiment, has caused enough people to stop asking about flat Earth, which it is possible to have a flat Earth sun on flat Earth, or 24-hour sun on flat Earth. I think focus should be put on destroying the trip, which I contend never happened. Okay. I mean, I appreciate your sentiment, Brian, but I quite like taking it. I can do either, right? You want conclusions, which is fine. I totally get why you're saying that from the super chat. Thank you for the super chat. But I don't care either way. You want me to accept that there's a 24-hour sun and that they did take a journey down, in quotes, there? Well, no. Down is antipodal when they're travelling south. Travelling south is a flat Earth prerequisite. I'll take that all day long. If they say they travelled south, okay, you will on a flat Earth in an aeroplane that's flying straight and level and measuring with black box data how flat Earth is. So I'll take it all day long that they went down there. Same with the sun. They say there's a 24-hour sun. So what, there's a sun above the horizon with a measurable angle with respect to a flat plane for 24 hours. Yeah, I'll take that flat Earth angle measurement off a surface that must be flat to give it us all day long. Now, I get that people are saying, no, this is fakery. You're like, who cares? Literally. Okay, I'll take it the other route. It's fake. Fake as all hell. They didn't go there. There's nothing to see here. There isn't really a 24-hour sun in Antarctica. Okay. But there's a 24-hour sun in the north. I know that for absolute fact. I've seen it. So why would I deny one only to accept the other? What does the 24-hour sun, if it is accepted in the north, because I absolutely know for a fact that there is, what does it prove? Well, it proves that we can measure the sun above the horizon with an angle for a 24-hour period. Well, that's a flat Earth prerequisite, as is all sun, star, moon measurements ever. All of it will always be measured with respect to a flat Earth. So I can take it either way. Say they deny that they went, I don't care. Yeah, fine, they didn't go. I'll go along with that for a bit. What about the next day? I'll happily accept that they did go. Like, literally, it doesn't bother me either way. There's plenty of flat Earth proof in both instances. Thank you for the super chat.
One of the tactics we've seen lately is that they try to switch the topic into being about misogyny. They're like, the only reason flat earthers are talking about this one is because it was all women. And we're like, really, dude? We've been talking about Blue Origin and Virgin Galactic and all these things the whole time. The whole time. What are you talking about? Like, somehow we ignored it until this one. It's like,
did you say misogyny?
Like, what the fuck?
Did you say misogyny? It's all about misogyny.
Yeah, that's what they're coming in here, that their claim now is because we're talking about this one in particular, it's proof that all flat earthers are misogynistic.
Oh, I can lean into that. I absolutely agree. It's a disgrace that these women were given these men's jobs. It should be the men faking space, not the women. The women should be sweeping up the studio. Yeah, I'll lean into that misogyny, no worries.
Well, it's pretty upsetting that it was all men having to pilot that thing from the ground, and then they said it was all women. It's weird.
Did they show the women, the female crew that built it too?
I don't give a crap about any of this. Girl power? How high did they get off a flat Earth? That's the first thing we did. We heard how high they got off sea level. You're like, okay, so they got off their claimed measurement, the only one, is off a surface that must be flat to describe it. Like, okay. Anything else this proves? Because so far, the people, the general people, not us, not the flatties, or the globetards, that's to say the anti-flatties, they're moaning about what it didn't achieve, how boring it was. You're like, okay, so they're not extracting anything from it, the normies. What have I extracted from it? Flat Earth proof. They measured their height off surface level. Sea level. It's level. It's not curved.
How high was it?
Off a flat Earth. I don't know, I can't remember. All I know is they measured it off a flat Earth. That's all I need. Like all heights, all elevations ever, all altitudes, all altitude angles, all require Earth to be flat. Or you can't measure them. It's just that simple. Typically,
Or whatever the
Unless you
measurements
take them
were, I
off
got
plumb,
them.
right?
Hold on, just 1 second, Neil. Say again, Tor for you, or
Yeah. Yeah, unless you take them off plumb, right?
off sea level.
Now, plumb is perpendicular to horizontal. You could just take an elevation angle off plumb and reverse engineer it. You could just minus 90. It's very simple.
Oh, not
Yeah,
to
sure.
It
get
actually
on
would
that.
work better if you're in like a valley that you don't have access to the horizon, right? There's mountains all around you. It'd be much better to take a angle off plumb.
Sure. But again, these principles axiomatically don't exist on a globe. You can't have perpendicular. You can't have plumb. There is no up and down on a globe. None of these things work spherically. They're all axiomatically tied to a flat planar surface to describe them at all. But yeah, I mean, if you want to say you want to minus from 90, you can do that. Don't get me wrong. On screen now for my audience, what that gentleman's just described, minusing your co-angle. Here's the diagrammatical example of it. Obviously, you need a flat surface for it to be an angle in the first place. And that's what you're calculating in terms of ground positions of stars. So yeah, he's right. You're right, sir.
Hey, you know what an axiom is? Oakley? I almost called you Coakley again.
So are you the guy that we told to sit down and shut up in the pre-show? Because you didn't...
Yeah,
I'm
don't
just wondering,
listen.
do you know the definition of an axiom?
So we had a discussion. You don't just get to stop in the middle of a discussion and start a new one a few minutes later, right? You have suggested to me that there is a tin can in a sky vacuum. I put it to you.
No.
Is it just me? You won't have the conversation we were having. You'll only have the new conversation.
That's not...
Moderators, no. I'm willing to continue the conversation. He couldn't rebut. No, it's not going to be audio chaos. Moderators, I've got a live show. Moderators, please. I beg you, moderators. I've got a live show. No, dickhead. You don't just get to drop the baton and start asking me to define axioms or what axiomatically means. No, you get to carry on the conversation about the sky vacuum with tin cans in it, where I rebutted what you suggested. And then we had a lot of what we just had a moment ago, which is you talking through me. Now, that doesn't get to occur. You can take up the reins where you left off about this second law of thermodynamics violating sky vacuum where you suggested tin cans were floating around. Now, I took a metaphorical giant steaming dump on that, didn't I, sir? What's that? You want to quiz me about whether or not I know what axioms mean? No, you don't get to do that, sir. You can carry on the conversation you lost, if you choose, or you can do what I told you to do, which is sit down and shut your ignorant mouth after losing. Which is it? Sitting down and shutting up, or carry on with the discussion about the second law of thermodynamics violating sky vacuum? Which one? I'll take that as the prior. So you'll sit down and shut the hell up. Good choice.
Nathan, he's not he doesn't believe in a sky vacuum. Nathan. I don't know what was the conversation you had earlier with him.
Said there was stuff communicating through satelloons.
It's all good, dude. It's all right.
Said there was tin cans up in the sky, giving us information. That's what he said.
Dude, I'm laughing. You got me geeking today, Coakley.
That's fascinating. Meanwhile, there's no area of volume above our heads for tin cans to be floating around in. Orbital motion, as they call it, is described and measured with respect to a flat plane on our surface to describe those motions, which is what they suggest satelloons or satellites are in. No, they're not. If this guy is not if this guy's not a glober and doesn't realise that the descriptions of things like satelloons are orbital in nature, then he obviously doesn't understand his own flat Earth rhetoric. Again, just ignorance. Those things are tied to heliocentrism and their descriptions. Did you not know that? Really not. Next.
You see, when you ask the guy a question, he's silent. And he wants to talk when you're talking. I don't get it.
Yeah. The requirement for an elevation angle off a flat surface is self-evident. On screen now, you describing...
Go
ahead.
Maybe he can hear. And Nathan, do you hear Heyuko? He's wants to quote you some Shakespeare, if you're willing to hear it.
Feel free. You're in charge. As much as people might not think that's the case.
To sphere or not to sphere? That is the question.
It's all about neither here. Yeah, hold on, Heyuko, dude, hold on. We're neither here nor there. Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, well, I've been listening very carefully indeed over the past while, and listening to your flat Earth measurements and collating all this stuff in my mind to try and get to an understanding of flat Earth, that I might be able to be a better flat Earther. And I think I found more land.
He's lying.
Oh, I do. No, I'm pretty positive about it, and I think it'll help you.
You mean like it was high tide at the beach and then it went to the low tide and you're like, look, more land.
No, this goes back to a talk that I had with him, because I told him to use the meter to get to the equator, but he wants to use the stars to get to the equator. And if you do that, the math doesn't add up. There's missing land. Maybe he found the missing land.
Oh, no, I'd have to correct you on that. I think you were insisting the equator wasn't on the ground. You were insisting it's in the sky.
Yeah.
Oh, can you show it us?
But Nathan has measured it. It's a flat Earth measurement to the equator.
Can you show it us?
Is that right, Nathan?
Can you show it us?
Well, you said so last week.
The equator, as in the elevation angle measurement of Polaris at its minimum.
Oh, well, I haven't done it, but I said...
So it was that you haven't done it as in the elevation angle measurement to Polaris to give us the equator you haven't done, so that would establish that that's what it is. You're just now suggesting that rather than a concession that's what it is, that you haven't done it. Yeah, that's what it is. Okay, so let's brush past this. Can you show me? I'm now asking you a question. I'm now asking him and he's interrupting me. We've dealt with his position that we can't show it. No, it's the minimum elevation angle where Polaris disappears.
I know.
All right, so there it is then. So we've dealt with that. Can we move on now? We've dealt with Hayuka and his nonsense that was absolute garbage.
Okay, so
because his suggestion is that now he's talking through my summary. We dealt with you, Hayuka. We've answered you. So we now know what the equator is. It's a flat Earth prerequisite. We're talking about angle measurements to stars. Can you stop him talking through me, please? This is getting irritating. We heard you. Now we don't want to hear you anymore because your suggestion was it couldn't be measured. It is measured off a flat Earth.
I never said that.
Oh, my God.
I never said it couldn't be measured. I never said that. I agree.
Fuck off. That's what you can do. Stupid dick that wants to waste our time. Suggests you found more land. You are a wanker. Get lost. Dickhead. Just wasting our time.
His claim was that you said you measured the equator on the land.
Looking for gotchas. Looking to try and catch me or someone on the panel out. These people are disingenuous. He's not here because he wants to learn. He's not here because he wants to even berate us because of his own pain. He just wants to try and catch us out for his own self-gratification. Mental masturbation. That's what he's doing. Piss off.
Wonder why in the debate server he'd want to prove you're wrong. That's interesting.
Say again.
Who
Who
could've
am I
thought?
talking to? Sign again. Which position did Sign take? I forget. Was it gravity being a force? Sign? Was that you? Memory served me correctly.
No.
What's the position you took? Was it just an interruption without any actual usefulness
That
to it?
was just an interruption.
Okay, fair enough. What did you have to offer this time? Sign?
Nah.
No.
Just listen.
No, you're not listening. You're talking, you stupid retard. Your mouth's opening and words are coming out. Are you a fucking spastic? You're not fucking listening, you
Oh,
stupid dumb shit.
burn it,
Now you're
yeah.
talking through me. Oh my God. Just listening? No, you're interrupting me, chastising you for being idiotic. You've told me you're just listening as an answer, which requires you flap your gums. Are you demented? Idiot.
Yeah.
You weren't just listening, idiot. You were talking to me, engaged in a conversation about what you had to offer. That isn't just listening. Idiot. Sit down and just listen. That means don't open your mic and don't talk. You've got nothing to offer. Second time. Are you retarded? At what part of don't talk, close your fucking mic, don't you understand sign? You're chuckling with your mic open. You unbelievable spastic. Close your mic, you dumbass. Hello?
Oh, my bad, my bad.
Yeah, my bad, I'm thick as shit. Yeah, I'm dumb, I'm really dumb, my bad,
Yeah,
my bad.
muted, buddy.
Close your mic, you retard. Now we've got somebody playing music through my live show, trying to get me demonetized so I can't feed my kids.
Got it. It was just 1 second.
No,
At my end, it was like literally 1 second. I got it right away.
No, I'm brilliant. Top work.
Just
They
like
study
old
daycare
times.
or something.
Bloody daycare.
Well, like one of the tactics that globalists will use is try to play royalty or copyrighted music over YouTube's, because the YouTube algorithm will, demonetize or strike the account. It's one of these really cringe tactics that they're always trying to shut the conversation down.
10 years ago, they'd come on my show and play pornography to a live audience. Play copyright music. They come and play porn. Obviously, those are the days where I had a bit less control over what was going on my show.
All of Africa is gone because I hate them. To get niggas gone for good.
Good. It's also often closet racists that do it, I've noticed. They want the nigger word to come through the airwaves. Now, I've got no issue saying the word nigger. You like hearing the word nigger? Nigger, no worries. Doesn't mean anything unless there's some connotation behind it. Like, I mean something when I say it. Like, if I say it because I've got some disdain towards black people, then it means something. Just playing the word nigger through the airwaves isn't going to mean anything to anybody. It doesn't mean anything. It's the feeling, the emotion, it's the reason for saying it that has meaning. Yeah? If you say it because you hate black people, that has weight behind it. Me? I love black people. I love all people, Globers included.
So I love them too. So can I say that's my nigga?
Only I can say that. No, you cannot.
I was talking about you. You are a half black woman, aren't you?
Yeah, that's why it's my word, not yours. Don't you use it. Only I can say nigger. You do not get to use my word. On a similar vein, you Globers don't get to use things like elevation angle measurements to Polaris to describe an equator on a ball because it's a flat Earth measurement. Like, it's an angle measurement, a minimum, which you could strictly say, well, it's beyond the limitation of the measurement because it's now not visible. Maybe that's where that last guy was going.
Yo, what is this old British guy yapping about? Does he really think the Earth is flat?
Yes. What's your name, sir?
So,
Yeah, your pain.
Cool name. Is that you learning electronics that was just talking?
You know what's funny is that guy thought he could have a conversation by like starting it like that. So I don't know who's more ridiculous.
I don't know. The old guy got muted for some reason, right? People think he's retarded, I guess, which he is. I mean, he thinks the Earth is flat after all. So.
But do you think like that's the way you're gonna get engagement, like by coming in and talking like that? Because I would call that retarded behavior as well.
No, it's just rage bait,
Correction,
nigga.
we don't think,
I'd agree.
we know. It's measured that way.
Yeah, we can have the conversation with Nate if you want. I mean,
flat,
I don't mind having the conversation.
that proves
with
it's
Nate.
flat.
Sorry, Duncan, go ahead. My bad.
Would you like to know how Earth is measured flat?
I think he's talking to Nate. Did you want to know, Nate?
I can tell you if you want.
Or did you just want to tell us that we're retarded for thinking it? Because we don't think it, we know it. You're gone. Is Nate no longer here?
I'll tell you.
Go ahead, Duncan.
When you measure elevation angles during celestial navigation, the top line of the angle goes from the observer to the star. The bottom line of the angle goes from the observer on the ground to the ground position of the star also on the ground. That can be for several hundreds or even thousands of miles away. So you have a straight line along the surface from the observer to the GP.
Well, it looks like I've been booted out of the channel. It says I've been suppressed from the channel. So someone's had enough of me talking and overzealous moderator has removed me from politics. Okay, well, that's the end of my Friday show, halfway through.
What? Somebody removed us from politics?
Yep.
Oh.
I have no idea. I don't care.
What the fuck, bro?
No swearing, please. Noob. Anyway, that was fun half an hour while we were there.
Hope you guys cut that off.
No, it said I no longer have permission to speak in the channel, so I've been banned from the channel while live.
Oh, I think because of the N-word.
There will be fans, Nathan. I told you, but, you know.
Say again?
Fuck them, man.
Didn't hear what you said, noob. Say it one more time. One more time, noob. No, obviously not.
That shit's frustrating.
I don't care. I want to take the sting out of racist slurs that people play on the radio. Like, what's it called when you do that? Like, drop in onto a radio station just to play a soundbite that you shouldn't play or swear. Well, people do that with the nigger word, like it's got some meaning, and it doesn't. You know, it doesn't mean anything. They're trying to get you in trouble with it, and it does do my head in. What annoys me is racists. People who say it because they don't like black people. Yeah? Those people, I'm disgusted by those people.
Hi, Adam.
Go ahead. Is that the noob again?
You don't have to keep saying it. Like, it doesn't mean something. Like, we get the point. And that is kind of the problem in that other room, is this very strict TOS. And I think you should be cautious with your own TOS on your own channel, too. But you're playing with somebody else's TOS at that point. So you do have to just respect that, yeah, that's a funny word. It's one of my favorite words. I'll guarantee it.
One of your favourites. I mean, I'm only saying it because somebody's just literally played it into the airwaves. So I'm trying to defuse it. Like overuse when someone's used it to create a commotion. It's like, well, I'll just use it repeatedly to defuse it.
Yeah, and of course, you know, it's no disrespect. I'm just saying kind of what it is.
No, there's a moderator in there that will be a manual action that somebody's waiting for an opportunity to get rid of me. Fine, if that's the reason that they want to utilise when somebody's played it into my live show. I'm like, okay, if that's the reason, fair enough. If you want,
well, I was just taking a guess at it. I don't know. If that's really
was you?
the
Were you just suggesting that was the reason, Neil? You don't actually know. Oh,
yeah, I'm just saying maybe that's the reason. You know. Because I don't. Why else would they just kick us out of nowhere?
I have no idea. I mean, me chastising globe believers I would assume, have been the reason. I would assume.
Well, I don't think we should go back. At all. The hell with them.
No. Why? So you're saying because some overzealous mod who is a globe believer is looking for an opportunity to get rid of us, we shouldn't go back? So they win.
If that's the case, if it was somebody else on our side, then I don't think we should go back there. And there is a moderator over there that does not like us.
I'm sure there's plenty of moderators over there that don't like us, Neil. But no, I'll do the same, but I'll go back next week. If we're not allowed in next week, then that'll dictate whether or not we're in there or not. If, on the other hand, they decided that me saying the N-word over and over again... Why am I saying the N-word? I don't even use that term. I hate the term, the N-word. If you're going to say nigger, just say nigger. That's my attitude. But it shouldn't be common vocabulary. You know what I mean? Because so many people use it in such a distasteful way. Anyway, you don't know that's the case, Neil. Now you've just told me that. So I'm probably labouring this point like speculatively that's the reason why we're not in there
Well,
anymore.
it's not usually for so long.
What? What's not normally for so long?
It's usually like a couple days.
Oh, right. So if you get...
I think it should be more common, actually, so people get over being, like, upset about it. That's what I think.
We don't know that's the reason. I mean, it might be that that's the opportunity an overzealous mod's taken to kick us out. We don't know, though. We're just speculating. So, personally, I think at this point, let's just not speculate. For whatever reason, we've been removed. It says 2 days, says Narj in the chat. Okay, fair enough.
Oh,
Damn.
dear.
I don't think we should go back at all.
Nathan got kicked for racism.
Fair enough.
Racist slurs. They were very upset.
Is that why? Do you know that for a fact, Hayuka?
Why are you being a nigger, Hayuka?
No, let's not. I'm just asking if he knows that for certain. I'm going to guess no. He doesn't know. I haven't got any videos lined up. I thought we'd be in there for another half an hour. We're only 25 minutes, or we've got 25 minutes left on this show. I guess we're going to be talking amongst ourselves.
Not about microphones.
Not about microphones. Why on earth not?
What was that new one I seen you put up this morning? Which one is that?
Are you actually asking me about microphones now, Neil?
Yeah, I want to know what that last one was you posted the picture of.
The Philips.
Is that it? It doesn't have like a foam top. It's like kind of like flat.
Yeah, it's a Philips condenser. So microphones at a certain level get expensive quite quickly, right? For good ones. But there's lots of microphones that are good microphones, but people don't know how to use them. Like they've got a weird connection on the end, or they take a battery, something obscure. And in my mind, it's like there's no reason why these really high quality microphones shouldn't be bought, turned around for a tiny profit, and then put back into service. But just with someone like me on a video saying, no, this does work. This is usable.
I don't hear anything.
Don't hear anything. Well, that's unfortunate, noob.
We can't hear you when you talk, noob. You keep saying things, you're mumbling, and then we ask for clarity, and we get nothing. You can't have a conversation this way.
Alrighty then. Normal Flat Earth business will resume on Monday. We do have Ballbusters to plug on Saturday. So tomorrow, Be Here or Be Sphere, 8 PM UK time, 1 PM Central Standard, on the Quantum Eraser YouTube channel. So check it out.
Don't do that to him. Don't do it. He's still on the float. You're acting like you're a survivor of Titanic, and like he is just trying to get a little piece of the door.
What the hell are you talking about?
I have no idea, but I'm intrigued. Come again into the break? I think everyone's dropped a bit of acid, Neil. It's all a bit spacey at the minute. I don't really know what's going on.
And Nathan, are they hearing us? And maybe we're not hearing them? Because that conversation had nothing to do with what we're talking about.
Can you hear us in Discord? Oh no, it doesn't look like I'm flashing when I'm in Discord. I'm not flashing. Hold on. It could be that they can't hear us, Neil. They're talking to each other. Right.
Thank God, thought I was going nuts.
Check 1, 2. You guys hear us now? In Discord.
Yeah.
Yeah, spacey is the perfect word, but you're delayed like 30 seconds.
Who is?
No, I can hear you loud and clear now.
Oh, so it was just going weird and wrong before. Fair enough.
Yeah, it's been a very awkward 10 minutes, 5 minutes.
Because you were talking to each other, but you couldn't hear me.
Yeah, we couldn't hear a word from you.
Oh, okay. Well, this has all got weird real quick. So it's gone from me getting kicked out of, what's it called? Politics. Politics temporarily for saying nigger too many times. To having a severe
We
delay
don't
in
know
our
that
Discord.
for sure.
We don't know that for sure, but we will speculate that that is the reason. And to be fair...
Yeah, that's why.
It is.
I stayed in there for a few minutes and listened. That's why you got kicked.
That's fair enough. So I've got a temporary ban for 2 days.
Yep.
That's fair enough. It
Well,
might.
they didn't even say. They didn't even warn us. They
No,
didn't
that's
say,
fine.
"Hey, Nathan."
Neil, those are their terms of service. I should know better. Me, skirting close to the line in here.
Yeah, come on, Neil. You know the N-word was dropped 3 or 4 times.
Yeah, I did.
No, it was more than that. Because I said it too.
It was more than that. Yeah.
That's not my point. I was just saying, why didn't somebody come in and say, "Hey, Nathan, we're gonna have to ban you for a couple of days." We just got kicked.
That's all right. Look, if there's somebody in there that's taking great pleasure in that and they're reveling in it and they're quite delighted, that's fine. Let them have their moment. It's only a couple of day ban. I should know better. As in, I know it's a terms of service violation. And when it happens, I'm over egging the pudding immediately because someone's trying to play the nigger word through a soundbite. Yeah? Now that person's getting banned immediately. I should have known better. It's not my server. So, my bad. I'll take it on the chin. No problem at all.
Would that be the tension?
On the tin chin. I'll take it on the
Whatever
tin
happened
chin.
with that? We're never gonna have a Rumpus Day. Where is he anyway? I haven't heard a word from him or anybody about Rumpus.
He's paid to be on a different project.
Well, unless you've been banned from politics, you know, you're nobody.
He only exists in the past now.
Oh, you've got to be someone to be. You've got to have been banned at some point from politics. No, that's good. If they keep a tight ship.
Yeah, if
You're gonna be rubbing elbows with QE
politics
soon.
before, then welcome, newbie.
I am actually quite grateful that this has occurred. So I know when I'm skirting close to the line with what I say. That was one of those times that I'm skirting close to the line in someone else's server where it's not my rules. So I've overstepped the line. I have. I know I have. I've got to accept that. So in a way,
Wait,
it's
what
good.
happened?
Just one sec. It does demonstrate that they keep a tight ship. Good. It's one of the reasons I like politics. So if it means that occasionally I'm subject to those rules, that's how it should be. Should be unilaterally applied to everybody. Good.
QE will be proud of you.
What took you to that point, Nathan? I didn't listen. I've only just jumped in. But was it somebody stating horizontal was curved that took you to that level, or something like that?
No, someone played a soundbite with, I don't know who it was talking, saying nigger. So to over-egg that pudding and take away the sting, I said it multiple times and then got banned.
So let me get it straight. QE got banned for using the word cracker, and you got banned for using the N-word.
Yes.
So,
Who's the racist?
I might want to be associated with a racist.
Brian.
Right, unless you have some disdain for black people, I don't care if you use what Brian just referred to as the N-word. If you want to say nigger, you can. unless you're actually a racist and are saying it with disdain for black people, then you're not allowed to say it. But it's not because you're not allowed to say the word, it's because I don't want to be anywhere near you because you're a racist scumbag.
I thought that was quite funny. They came in to try and do it.
You
took
know they didn't
control of the
treat Irish
situation.
people very kindly here in
Hold on a second,
America.
Adam. Go ahead
in
into the break.
1800s. You know that, right? They treated them very slave-like.
How do you know? Were you there in the 1800s?
Just as a cue, hold on. Adam Price, then Adam Meakin, then Neil, then Brian.
I don't think I said anything.
Who was it that was just talking a second ago in Discord? Into the break, sorry. Maybe he was finished. Go ahead, Adam Meakin.
Yeah, I was laughing. It was obvious what was going on. It was like the old P. Mars days coming in. Pathetic. I thought you owned it well, and then went completely over the top in quite a nice way, actually. Sets the standard. Don't do it. The server needs to control that. The first second that guy came in, I thought you described the lack of threat if somebody's going to come into this and try and intimidate the show with that word, and describe exactly what it is. It's just a word. Whether you choose to use it or not, that's all it is. Well done, mate. And I thought the gratuitous use was properly intentional from you. It was quite apparent to me that you were doing it, over egging the pudding on purpose, which I think was a wise thing to do. Ban or not. It's not that
exactly.
You started that fight.
Exactly.
It's not you that allowed that in.
Yeah, once it's in, it's in. But if the person that's put it in initially gets banned, their rules are I also must be, if I'm using it contextually to take away the sting of the first use or otherwise. That's the rules. I accept that. However, as Adam's just pointed out, it was worth the ban. In other words, if I had the gift of hindsight and knew I was going to get banned for it, I'd have done exactly the same thing. Knowing that it was temporary. If it was permanent, probably not.
Or maybe it was when I came in and said it. Maybe that's what it got.
Yes, Neil, yes. Because in all of the dialogue that Nathan gave, he never used it as an insult to anyone. Ever. It was just using the word, describing whether its use or is or isn't appropriate, and showing how it didn't intimidate him by repeatedly using the word, but never as an insult to anyone. Just pointing out it's a word. It was very good. Then lots of people think, oh, that's the time we could just use it freely.
No,
maybe the word is relevant.
It's still
Does
a charged
it appear
word.
in any of the sextant manuals?
What about the sextant manuals? I missed the joke, I'm sorry.
Never mind. Go ahead, Brian.
Yeah, Brian.
No, I stepped on Sensual. He started talking a second before me. You go ahead, Sensual. Make a joke again.
Nah, it doesn't matter. Go ahead.
I love it. You're so Irish. No, I've ruined the timing. You go ahead with your joke again.
I know it is. I'm sorry. No, I just came in to say that there's something in Master B. You know, man, old dude, the global guy. He had something to say. Maybe he was the guy here. I think he might be a mod or something. He had something to say about the whole thing. He put it, and someone copied his comment and put it into, I think it was the Viking, put it into Master B.
Yeah, that's fair enough. Old dude. No, he's doing his job as a moderator. I can't simultaneously praise them for being strict and keeping control.
He's a prick.
He's not a prick. He's doing his job. Don't be like that.
Bullshit. He's looking for a reason.
That's fine.
No, Neil, they have to do that. I'm not, when I'm applauding it, Nathan had to do that as well. You stand up to bullies, okay? I said he never used the word as an insult, but he did use it repeatedly and gratuitously on purpose. The server has to deal with that. It's not banned for life.
Yes, it was.
But
That's
you're
the
warmly
word.
welcome back on another show.
Okay, well, why wasn't the guy that played the N word?
He would have been.
To
Yes,
start this whole thing.
He would have
banned
been
immediately.
He did.
That's for them and their standards now, isn't it? To show that they don't just ban inappropriately. Yeah, they will need to deal with him because he was the instigator, weren't they? If they've got any standards, and they'll say, we had to ban you, Nathan. We know you weren't using it as an insult. You were just highlighting its inappropriate use and showing that you weren't intimidated by it.
If you're going to ban me for racism, at least ban me for genuine racism. I actually hate the Irish. I mean, that's perfectly reasonable to ban me for that.
I mean, it's a good idea. I mean, I could think of 30 words if for global use, just instantly get a 2-day ban. One of them's horizontal.
Indeedy. Well, if nothing else, it's always eventful when we go into politics. This is no exception. But it's the gratuitous use, I would say. Adam's vernacular, perfectly appropriate. Regardless of me taking the sting out of the word, which was my intention, it's being used, it's a charged word, and I used it gratuitously. Therefore, totally justifiable by any mod. You can't just say, that guy's an asshole. No, he isn't. Don't be like that, Neil. He's doing his job. Good on him.
I'm talking, listen, we've spoken to old dude. I'll go back and I'll play a few shows that he was on. He's a freaking retard.
No, he's not. He's
you
fine.
give him a retard mod powers?
It's irrelevant. The modding was perfectly acceptable. Just get over it.
Yeah, people. It's not that this is our own discussion that we can have on our own server, but you know, it's as I've tried to say in the politics server, skirting those lines, and I won't necessarily do it now because there's nothing to diffuse. It doesn't matter what the word is. Any word is benign. It's only ever the intonation behind the word that you need to concern yourself with. Nigger's no different to any other word. If you say it because you hate black people, then that person isn't a nice person. And it wouldn't matter what words are adjunct to that word. They don't like the person they're talking about when they address them with that word. So it doesn't matter if it's misogyny, racism, it's always the same. It's the intonation behind what's being said. Some people
I get that.
Just Neil, move it away and take a victory. Okay, motivation is key here. What was there? They couldn't come in and talk about elevation angles, could they? They came in, they tried to play a little bit of music. Then they tried to use the use of inappropriate words to do what? To try and ruin the show or take away from the show because they haven't actually got anything to do with the topic because they've lost there. This is their motivation. That's the only play they've got in the book left.
Yeah, but then we fell victim to it because if that's what they did, we went in, Nathan did what he did, I said what I said, and we got kicked. So they accomplished what they wanted to accomplish.
No, they didn't. Look how quick they were to instantly mute when music came in. Their reactions in the server were not commensurate when the N-word was used. Right? That's for them to deal with. And I praise Nathan the way he dealt with it.
I also praise me for the way I dealt with it.
You put it to the floor, and it's them that's got to deal with it. You didn't bring it up. Yeah, you just said, oh, you're going to try and intimidate me by bringing that word to this debate. I'll own it. Over the top, but I'll own it.
Yeah, so words and meanings. So where did this F word come from? Because that's just a word too. But so how do you use that when it's not good? Can you ever use it where it's good? No, right?
No, the F word's used for, I want to put a higher degree of intonation on the next word that follows. So you use F or F-ing before whatever word follows it, so that it means it's more important or should be paid more attention to. It's actually, generally in English, it's a lack of vocabulary that leads people to use that word too much. And out of context, obviously.
Bit like science.
It's the Irish guys that I worked with.
I wouldn't
that
say
was every other word.
Just 1 sec. I wouldn't say science. I would say gravity, though. In the same way that if you haven't got anything to offer, but you just want to insert a magic word to accentuate whatever it is you're saying or make it seem more legitimate, people will just insert gravity in the same way.
Or refraction.
or a fraction in the same way they just add the fucking word because they need something to add extra.
But how did it become so offensive? Like, were they using
Because of
that
what it
word in the
means.
1600s?
Because of the literal word in its literal context. Same with most words, right? Their meanings shift over time, but the original contextual meaning is normally the one that's the most offensive.
Science would be in there as well. I don't know why I went against that.
Yeah, you're probably right. They just throw that word in. In fact, now thinking about it, it is. I've said no, and it's more appropriate than I first gave it credit when I said no. But yeah, they do just throw the word science in. You could almost say a sentence that was a complete nonsensical reply to any question, pause, and then say science, full stop, and suddenly have more gravitas. The Turkish delights taste better because the White Witch made them. Science.
Exactly. Oh yeah, like it's constantly being used out of context, left, right, and centre for, for clout.
Yeah, over-egging the pudding. There's a proper method to that. Science.
Yeah, exactly.
Mixing my metaphors, I just said over-egging the pudding with science. It's just not true. Cookery, though. Cookery? That's science.
Yeah.
It's not.
Well, my idea for a cake is just as good as a hypothesis.
Yeah, exactly. How much egg you over-egg it with, that's your hypothesis right there. That's a scientific prediction if I've ever heard one. Phenomena, Kate Rice has done it. Have you not seen it? That's something happening right there. Can't tell me that's not happening. It's cause and effect reasoning if I've ever established it. So we've definitely established cake is science.
Oh, let me ask you a question. When it rises...
So hold up. We have the episode where everybody uses the word nigga, and I had a meeting.
You weren't here, no, chocolate.
No. I couldn't come in and say, yo, y'all my niggas.
No, that's not the word we used. No. You're using a different word. No, notice chocolate used a different word.
Yeah. And he used it outside, actually, at somebody. That's what you were very good not to do. You didn't direct at anybody. You didn't, even in a friendly way. You just used the word repeatedly.
I couldn't do that without changing the word that he used that he played. The word used was nigger. Coming in and if I subtly altered it, people would have called me Weasley.
Hard R, yeah.
Yeah, if I had to keep the hard R. It was a hard tightrope to walk on, and I got banned for it.
So wait a second. So nigger is the hard R, and that's my nigger? That's the AH or something?
Yeah, nigger is soft H, soft R, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah. But to be fair, Chocolate, it was better that the white person just dealt with it.
No, that's fine. I was in a meeting, so I couldn't say anything, but I was just kind of laughing in the background. Then when I realized you got kicked from out, I was like, damn, really? Like that. But then somebody played the shit. So it's like, what the hell, man? But then, Nathan OD'd. It was like, yeah, my nigga. So that was kind of funny.
Yeah, it was. Hey, let me get back on topic here. Let me ask you a question, because you brought up cake and stuff like that. And
what?
So when you're like, my wife was baking the other night.
Really? I'm glad we could help.
So well, because for a long time I'm like, do we have anything else other than gases going up?
You're saying cake go up
with respect to the cutting board.
Gravity, yes.
I need to write this down. Cake goes up. Also, got it. Yeah, it's a good one, Neil.
With respect to cutting board.
Put it in the book.
It's not very natural, Neil. Not very natural.
With respect to the cutting board, is that what you said?
Do we see
What
cakes?
about capillary action with water? When water climbs up a towel or something?
Yeah, that's definitely stuff going up.
Now we're talking.
You get that in plants too.
Definitely
And
due to the
also
same
a
thing
slight
that makes
vacuum.
things go down.
It's alleged.
A slight vacuum.
Yeah.
Where's that vacuum in nature?
In plants, yeah. It's alleged. I've had that put to me a couple of times.
You don't see
So it's not
Dysons
just
growing off
gases
trees,
then?
Neil?
There's plenty of stuff.
I knew about trees too, but something
No,
detached.
the Dysons that grow off the tree. Those are the Dysons.
Not just cakes, cookies also.
Shut up, Nathan. Just put it in the book.
Okay, cookies and chocolate chip variety ones, they rise a bit less. Do they make the book?
Well, I'm not. See, chocolate chip cookies are good if you have just a few chocolate chips. Too many, no good.
It's only no good because they don't rise properly. Because you can't have cookies on a globe Earth. There's no up.
Exactly. So they can't even have cookies now. Do not touch our cookies.
Hey, while we're on the subject, Brian, you there?
Depends what you mean by there.
As in present? I shared a video with Master B earlier. I was hoping you'd go through it.
Is it on cookies?
Sorry, Sensual. Yeah, what is it? What are you asking me? Sorry?
Let's go for the video that you shared earlier, Master B.
Well, that's good. Yeah. That is good, isn't it? The neutral buoyancy video. It's only a short, really, but it's actually very good.
Yeah, go through it for everyone.
Action lab.
Because it's relevant to what we're talking about.
I'm looking in
Well,
Master
I'm
B.
kind of listening and driving, so I can't really.
I can do that. Whereabouts in Master B is it?
I only posted it there earlier on. So whatever the last post is from me, basically.
From early this morning.
Yeah, it is. It is good. Good video.
Oh, is it with a balloon in a truck?
It's starting with that. Yeah. He goes, but it gets better than that.
Okay. Yeah, I've got that up now. Do I need audio?
Well, yeah, you're going to need. I'm not commenting on this. I'm not
Lunge
looking
forward
at it. I'm only listening to it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Or fly to the
driving.
back. It stays right where it was, like it's stuck in a gel or something. So neutrally buoyant objects don't fly forward during collisions. So that got me thinking, is this the perfect method to protect an egg in an egg drop?
I've seen this already. I don't know who the YouTuber is, but I've definitely seen this. The long form version. This is a short.
Well, let's try it. First, I made some water that was the same density.
Oh, it's the guy mixing. It's the chemical mixing guy. I love this guy. This guy's great. I don't know who he is, but I do watch his shorts when I flick through them, and I've watched several of his long form videos. He's the kind of guy who goes, inside this vial is a load of absolutely lethal toxic material, and I just can't wait to break it open. And here's me breaking it open. And you're like, oh my God, isn't it going to kill you? It's one of those. This guy's great.
You got a link for him?
Oh, yeah, that's what I should do, really. Share him. I'll put a link. Hopefully, it is actually him that is on this short, because some people steal, duet, whatever you call it on YouTube, other people's material, and it becomes their green screen version or whatever. Hopefully, this is actually that videographer. I don't know. I'll put a link to it either way. So it's going by in the live stream chat now if you are watching this live, which hopefully you are. Please click on this link that's going by and let this videographer know at Nathan Oakley 1980 sent me.
By putting some salt in the water until the egg didn't sink or rise in the water. Now that we have our liquid that's the same density as our egg, we need to fill up a container that has no bubbles in it. If there are any bubbles, they'll move around and cause the egg to move around. So first, let's start off.
Well, I don't remember them explaining why that would be the case. Why would the bubbles cause a problem?
Because they're not the same buoyancy.
I don't know, but somebody's playing with an egg and salt water, so Clover start losing their minds.
Oh yeah, I forget this is triggering to some ball-believing people. I forget where I am sometimes, Chocolate, of course. Yeah, don't panic, ballers. Gravity hasn't been a force for 110 years.
Off with a small drop in a clear container and see if the egg breaks or just stays put, moving along with the container. The egg just moves exactly along with the bottle and the water in the bottle. So the egg can't crack because there's no stress points pushing on the shell that would make it crack. But let's see.
Okay. Other than triggering globers, I mean, this is obviously all very bad for ball believers, but was that the main point? Brian? Or Liam?
Well, yeah. Well, yeah, because the whole point was that he's able to use neutral buoyancy to protect an egg. Do you know what I mean? He can protect an egg with neutral buoyancy. In other words, Like it also kind of, like it kind of, although I didn't give it much thought, it also kind of focuses a little bit on the nonsense telling them to be doing. Do you know what I mean? You know the way they're throwing bottles out of windows and all this sort of stuff and doing stuff with balloons and cars. No, this kind of thing. Well, it was good because it's like, it's not going up, it's not going down. Neutral, like a neutrally buoyant balloon. Like, I mean, I just. I didn't expect it to be shown on. I don't know what you're asking me about or what you want from me, Nathan. I just shared it in Alpha B. I didn't do anything else. You'll have to deal with that quandary
You've done
yourself.
plenty. You've done enough. Now you're ruining it.
I'm not dealing with it. I've decided I'm not dealing with it.
You don't have to. There's nothing to deal with. It's okay.
Try to explain something out. I didn't expect it to happen.
Okay, we're not putting you that much on the spot. If anybody's wondering, spoiler. When he gets to the highest height, because I've seen the long form version of this, it does actually break. So I believe, I can't remember if it's off a building. Oh, it's off a cliff. Yeah, that's right. So when he gets to this height, it does actually fail. So from memory, it wasn't actually the failure of the egg. It was the failure of the bottle around the egg. In other words, the plastics failed.
The container. They have to change container because... Well, I can't remember the reason, but the container was slightly smaller, so there was less room for the water to protect the egg.
But you're talking about a 50 to 100 foot drop by the time it's like failing. In other words, this principle's so sound that you've got to literally go out of your way to find a pretty high drop, like a cliff, to throw it off to make it fail. I was quite astonished. Same with Brian. It's not like we need to deal with anything. It's just, when you're talking about neutral buoyancy in this case, right? And he's already explained it. I'm glad we caught the bit that we did in the shorts. He obviously knows what he's doing. We're making a good YouTube video. There's no stress points. In other words, it's not banging against the side of the container because it's held in neutral buoyancy. Well, like, we can discuss this without an issue. Ballers can't. This is all devastating. Go ahead, Adam.
I just thought he got the wrong end of the stick. That's not the requirement to get into a Puff Daddy party.
That's rude.
Only if you know.
Is it not interesting that simultaneously the world is being told about Russell Brand being an alleged rapist, while Katy Perry is being sent off to space? Is that not weird to anybody? Is it just me, or is that quite a strange coincidence? Both in the limelight at the same time. Weird.
Yeah, you see, once married, they both separate. One goes to the Church of Heliocentrism and is lauded, and the other goes to Jesus and is vilified. Is it strange in today's world? I don't know. I wouldn't say it's surprising that somebody that professes Christ trying to speak truth, he's a very fallible man, but he's attacked for being human and professing his love for Jesus. It's probably not surprising in today's world to me.
You summarised it better than I and drew better connections than I was aiming for. Brilliant. Yes, exactly. It does strike me as weird. I'm not going to say that it's intentional or, more than just a coincidence. But my God, it is bizarre that those two are in the news at the same time for very, very different extremes. One is worshipping Gaia, kissing the namesake of her daughter and the earth, literally. Praise be to heliocentrism. The other one's going to be cast down in flames for the pervert he was 20 years ago after finding his way to God and Christ. Okay. I don't really know what to say. The news is messed up.
Like, I understand your link between those two things happening at the same time. I just think it's kind of funny that, I don't know, that the last two attempts at this mainstream space narrative have not boded very well for the people who purport that shit, including the astronauts that were supposedly rescued. I'm seeing a lot of I saw a lot of pushback against that. A lot of call outs to fakery and shit.
with that. And then now you got this one where these, you know, the girl power and space thing. I don't know. I find it almost seems like it's going to be very hard for them to keep pushing this crap as time goes by. Like, people used to just willingly accept it. Now you read comments and you see reactions. It's like so many people are like, this is just nonsense. And, you know, I don't think all of them are flat earthers. I think just people are just seeing the bullshit. So I think it's going in a good direction. That's just my personal opinion, though.
There's, go on, Wanda.
Sorry, go ahead, Wanda.
I was just saying, like, it's almost. I mean, the whole thing's bizarre. I've not watched tons of it, but it just seems like some sort of ritual or something that they're doing, or something really strange. But on the other hand, it's so obvious it's fake. I mean, are they trying to actually see how far they can make it look so fake before, you know, people actually start realizing how much fakery do people need to realize this is actually fake?
Well, I think it's actually aiming for a different mentality. Because we're hypercritical, we're really looking at it, and when it looks a bit fake, like when they launch, for whatever reason, that looked properly CGI, like it'd come out of a graphics card. But nevertheless, most people aren't watching. So I remember The Simpsons covering it, and they've got, this is in the 90s, like the mid-90s, and there's Homer and Bart, and they're watching the TV, and then it cuts to, and now we're going to be launching from Kennedy, and on today's space mission we have a mathematician, a statistician, and another mathematician, and they will be going off to test the effects of nuts and bolts in space. And this is coming over the TV while Bart and Homer fight to get the remote batteries back in so they can change the channel, while Bart's like, oh no, not another boring space launch, no, no, no! And he really wants to get it turned off and switch the channel, but the batteries have come out the remote. That's the gag, as they fight to get it on, and they're having to listen to how boring space launches is. In the same episode, Homer goes up into space and causes chaos, opens a can of pop or whatever in space, and whatever, lets a load of ants out from memory. The point being that they're creating this impression of mundane, boring nonsense. Well, when I see the reaction videos from the people I am subscribed to, like Dr. Grande, who's typically giving us his psychological take on some crime that's taken place or some tidbit that's in the news, his reaction to is, this is really boring. Snoozeville. In other words, most people aren't interested in it because there's nothing to be interested in. Rocket goes up, rocket comes down, Katy Perry kisses the ground. That's it. We're hypercritical of Bezos with his door. We're using it to prove flat earth proof. When I said we the first time, it was the collective flat earthers. We the second time is us, specifically. We're using it to prove with the measurements are coming off a flat surface, and surface level and sea level are flat earth proofs. That's what we're doing. But Joe Normie isn't. It's just tedious nonsense. But it's there in the background noise of space is real, space is real, space is real, space is real.
Yeah, they got to keep reifying it.
Yep,
they have
keep doing it. It's just there in the background. Like me getting emails still, because I can't be bothered to unsubscribe from Science at NASA. Like, when I was a baller, I would read some of the emails, maybe. But for the most part, I'm on an emailing list that's updating me with space. I don't have to read the emails, but every time I go through the list of emails I'm not reading, there's just a Science at NASA. New red ... in the list of emails. Oh, I'm not going to read that today. But for every other baller...
research they did.
Say again?
So don't forget all the research they did in the 4 minutes that they were supposedly in a vacuum.
Yeah, they're all astronauts. No, what was the misogynistic view I took earlier?
They filmed it.
It's outrageous that these chicks are taking away the men's job of space fake. They should be leaving the space fakery to the men. Disgraceful. They should be sweeping up the studio and making tea for all of the cinematographers, the hard-working male ones. Yeah? Drag me up on that misogyny. Nathan says it should be the men that are faking space. Let's see if that gets me on mainstream TV.
There is a benefit, though, to using female astronauts, because when they left that capsule, it was spotless.
Outrageous.
I don't know. You ever go into a ladies' bathroom after church? Not so spotless.
What the hell, Neil? What are you doing going into ladies' bathrooms after church?
Bastard, he robbed my joke.
I was on the maintenance team, so I had to clean up. And what a mess. That women's bathroom was horrible.
That's exactly what I told the police. On the maintenance team, I told them.
There's two big YouTubers that covered it. This guy Benny Johnson, who has 3-point-something million YouTube subscribers, he was making a big joke out. Like, he was like showing the door issue and all that. This is totally fake. And he's not a flat earther or anything, because he was talking about, he's talking about whatchamacallit, he was talking about space and all the rest of it. So he wasn't saying the space was fake, but he was saying this is total fake nonsense. He was laughing at it. He even had an intro that was funny, because his intro was using parts from one of the I'm not sure if it was I think it was the Hot Shots movie.
Oh.
And one of the Hot Shots movies where they're referencing the penis, but everyone was saying like Johnson and Dick and all this kind of stuff. And there's kind of like, it's just, the way it's done is that they end up being just guys' names. But anyway, long story short, he ends up having Dr. Evil as as Jeff Bezos. The way he did it was pretty funny. But he's not anything a flat earther. Never heard him mention anything like that. But even he was attacking that. Now I don't have much time for that guy too much. But I'm just saying he is a pretty big YouTuber. Candace Owens also covered it, and her sentiment was similar to yours, Nathan. She was like, people are all like, people are all going on about how it's a woman power and women this and blah 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 blah. She said like that women are doing space now and everyone's supposed to care. And she said space was being faked by men since the 1960s, she said. So them faking it with women now makes no difference. She said it's all fake. Now,
is that what Candace Owens said?
Yeah. She wasn't saying the earth is flat, but she was saying the whole thing is a heap of rubbish. Nobody went to space or went to the moon.
Oh, man, I blow so hot and cold with Candace Owens when I hear things like that. That sort of recognition. I suppose there's only a fine line between someone like Candace Owens and an anti-flat earther, and indeed us, right? So when you say people like the guy you described first, saying, look how fake it is, and he's got the Hot Shots part of descriptions of people looking at what is obviously penis-shaped and going, it looks like a giant, cut to the next person, Johnson! And then they start talking about something else that's obviously penis-shaped.
That's Austin Powers, isn't it?
Could be Austin Powers. Brian said Hot Shots. Regardless, the point is that guy, he is on that edge where potentially he could slide down the hill and become an anti-flat earther, right? Most of the people who oppose us have got names that even make my point for me. Conspiracy cats. You're like, what type of person is that? Somebody's looking at that aspect of the news, right? So they think they're all upbeat and informed because they're looking at the conspiracies of the world. In other words, they're the tards they portray us to be. They've all got that sort of crap in their names, the anti-flat earthers, I mean. If you look at their names, that's often a theme that runs along with them, that they're the ones studying the conspiracies and debunking them, right? But no, in reality, these are just conspiratards, and they want us to be what they project onto us. This guy who's saying, look, Thunderbirds are go, when he's looking at these obvious CGI images of women going to space, he's not looking at the bigger picture here. And there's another layer to it. It's not really about the women. Is nobody concerned with how many black people there were doing it? It's bloody outrage.
Well, I can't. Like, the first guy, this guy, Benny Johnson, he normally just covers politics, it's more of his forte. But he does cover other stuff. But he's very much on the far right kind of thing, right? Now, him, I don't think he'd become an anti-flat earther. He hasn't. It'll probably just shock him someday to the earth is flat, right? Candace Owens, I would say, is much more likely to become a flat earther than to be an anti-flat earther. She's not against it. You know what I mean? She might be a flat earther for all I know. She just doesn't state it. But she's definitely against the moon landing, and all this space stuff, and NASA, and all this other rubbish. She just sees it as a lot of Freemasonry nonsense. So, but I understand what you're saying. There is a lot of these people who are conspirators, and they're trying to debunk something that they think is a conspiracy when it's not. It's just the way it is.
But that's the way it's gonna have to go, right? Like, sorry, man. I was just gonna say real quick that's it seems to be that's kind of the way. Like, not everybody's gonna jump from believing in a ball to straight to flat Earth. Some people will have to come to terms that NASA's full of shit, and I think that's what. Because I think right now they know obviously flat Earth is a thing and it's not going anywhere, so they need to hype up all this space crap. And I think it's backfiring on them, which is helping people to realize that NASA's full of shit. So, I don't know. I think that's just going to help us later on. So people wake up to this nonsense.
Or it's a controlled demolition. Certain things based on what is acceptable in the rules, terms of service, and things like that, as we've been talking about in this show, rather. We're still live. Are being deemed as acceptable. For example, you can talk about space and moon landing fakery. We're not removed permanently. We're not permabanned for talking about those things. Well, what does that mean? It means that there's an acceptance that presumably that lie must come to a close at some point, but it's better that they have some semblance of control over how that lie gets dismantled. Now, 10 years ago, I was suggesting that they'd push that lie slowly onto the private sector, right? You've got other people, and when I was talking about it last, I was talking about Virgin and Branson. Now, that was the unfolding in the 80s and 90s. Now we've got it with Bezos and Musk. So the type of keeping the private sector around NASA for presumably the inevitable collapse of that giant lie, because it can only last so long. And if you're in the know, you know it's a lie. So you know there's a lifespan to it, right? Like any lie. But you've got to keep a kind of bit of padding around it from normie private sector people that can basically take the brunt of the blame if it ever did collapse. But I think that it's had potential failure points highlighted too many times now, and they know that the web of deceit within the space lie has to come to a conclusion. Maybe I'm deluding myself. Maybe they will just keep propping it up over and over and over and over.
But that's what I'm saying. That's why sorry,
Chocolate
and
one deck. Hold on, one deck. Just go ahead, Chocolate. Just round this out and then we'll go to your one deck. Go ahead, Chocolate.
No, because I was saying that's why even in their narrative there's that contention now, because like yesterday I was listening to them complain how now they're calling these women, they're calling them full-on astronauts, they did all this training and blah blah blah, right? When some of the mainstream was just saying, but they just went on a ride. And then they compared that with when William Shatner supposedly went up there, right? And he himself said he just called it a ride. He wasn't calling himself an astronaut after that. So now there's this back and forth amongst themselves in their own story, whether these people are astronauts, whether they're taking the valor of, the real astronauts. It's hilarious to me. But I just see it as all just falling apart.
I just before one deck goes, just so you know, and I put a comment into your man Benny Johnson's video and into Candace Owens' video, and it was about the diffusion of gases. And I just said in one of those comments, because only one of them I referenced it, that they're all astronauts. Because anyone who's claiming to go to a place that can't exist, which is that region, you're an astronaut. That's all you have to be. You have to be part of that and be willing to lie. That makes you an astronaut. Doesn't mean you're going up to some heliocentric outer space. So yes, those women are absolutely astronauts. Quite a liar.
I'm astronaut, and so is my wife. Space starts at sea level. Go ahead, One Dick.
I can't remember his point. It pops into my head. Maybe chocolates, and people just haven't come to realization about and come into realization that the whole NASA and moon landing is fake before they get to the flat Earth situation. But what I've noticed, and I don't know, the David Icke's of the world, I usually, no matter what you think of him, he might be predictive programming or whatever, but I always used to criticize him for, if you think, he knows this and he knows that and what's going on in the elite world, apparently, but he doesn't know the Earth's not a globe. But what I have noticed recently is he's now talking about how fake the moon landings were, and this couldn't have possibly happened. And I've never heard him speak in them about this topic before, which I think can only be a good thing if it's pushing people, the amount of people that listen to David Icke, and now he's saying that the so-called moon landing was definitely fake, it didn't happen, then it's the first step towards then, well, if that's fake, then let's look at the globe. So I don't know if he's pushing that because he's being told to push it, or he's just finally woke up and is realising it like we all did. But that's all I needed to say.
Yeah, I hear your sentiment there, and I think it's something I was going to say earlier, but I didn't want to be pushing my voice in there too much. Is based on what Chocolate was saying, and someone else said something earlier as well, which almost led me to say what I'm going to say is that it's like this kind of soft landing. It's like they're making the whole thing into a joke, so people view it as people are viewing it then as more of a funny thing, that it was all fake. Do you know what I mean? As opposed to a funny thing that was all fake, as opposed to actually getting angry about it. So bit by bit, it's become like the next one is more ridiculous than the last one. And it's just like, eventually people are going to go, that whole space thing is some joke, ha ha ha. Not realizing, no, that whole thing, right, was a massive deception. And now you're being deceived again because you're being led to believe that it's a joke. Now, it's either that could be the direction it's going, where they're trying to do a soft landing, or it could be kind of like what happened with the Democratic Party, where they tried the same trick too many times. And eventually, like the Democratic Party in the US, they lent on a load of celebrities, and it meant nothing because they lost. Now, are elections fair? Are they real? Are they not all of them not, in some way manipulated? Yeah, you could say that. But the point being is that if you can be overconfident if you keep using the same tactic every time. But eventually someone's going to see through that, and bit by bit people are going to see through it. So it's either that the same tactic has been used too many times and they're too lazy about it at this stage, and if they're trying to take the heat off of NASA and it's going wrong, or the whole purpose of this is to gradually take the heat off of NASA and gradually kind of they'll be going between Blue Origin and X, Elon Musk, and maybe someone else, Branson, will get involved. And before you know it, it'll all be kind of like a big watered down kind of a joke. When the real truth is that NASA took the absolute piss for decades and to allow one of us to glow. But, I have more to say, but I'm going to leave someone else to say something.
Yeah, I suppose it would be easier as a gradual sort of, instead of being hit across the skull with a sledgehammer and just said it was all one big lie. Like you say, it's like they've been doing in stages now. Some of these big celebrities, like I mentioned, are now talking about it when they never have. So, yeah, you could be right, mate. Something's going on anyway. We know that.
Well, it's either complete laziness on their part, and they're kind of contempt for their audience, contempt for the public. That the public have been so easy to fool. They have contempt for them, and they're literally doing stuff like making penis-shaped rockets and pretending they're going up to this place with a lot of BS celebrities, blah blah blah. Right? It could be that, or it could be that they're trying to actually create some kind of a soft landing and make it into more of a something that people, when they think of it, they think of it as more of a comedy. But it could be either one. But there's definitely something either going wrong on them when they don't want it to, or going wrong in exactly the way they want it to. There's no doubt there's think tanks goes into this stuff. Groups of people sit around and have a good think about how are we going to deal with this problem. But you still have the people out there who go, oh, we know it's a globe, but they've been lying to us about how much space they've explored, and maybe they've been lying about how many aliens are out there. Like these people, they still exist. So it's going to take more than this. This could be another 10 years before people who are saying they've been lying about going to space, but space is still real and it's still a globe. It'll be another 10 years before those people start even questioning any of this. Because 10 years ago, David Icke was asked about flat Earth. And now and of course, David Icke, a conspiracy theorist. So he's going to be well ahead of the normal person, the normal baller person. Do you know what I mean? Or baller and heliocentric enthusiast. The anti-flat earther especially. And even he took 10 years to get to the moon landing. 10 years ago, he didn't want to address flat earth really at all. Not that he didn't want to, he just had nothing to say about it because it was kind of a bit of a shock for him. Oh no, some of the things I've been saying haven't had, you know what I mean? If what they're saying is true, then what I've been saying is wrong. But, I don't know. He's just, go on.
He might be closer in some regards being a conspiracy theorist, but he's going to be further away because of a lot of his conspiracy theory, quote unquote, is based upon heliocentrism anyway, from aliens from sky vacuums.
Exactly, and that was the thing with him, you see. He addressed the Earth being flat. He said he didn't know. He said it's not something that he ever gave thought to. But because...
No, he said it could be both. It could be either it's down to the observer or something stupid
it was
like that.
vague. Yeah, I remember him saying it was vague what he said. But, I kind of had a bit of empathy for him. He didn't know what to say because he probably just thought it was a globe. And suddenly he was being presented with evidence that it wasn't. And he's up there doing all kinds of tours and all the kinds of stuff. And his popularity went down after Flat Earth came out, like a lot of those type of people. But they gained in popularity again because of TikTok and and X and all this kind of stuff. They gained in popularity again over time. But now he's addressing the moon landing because it's a good thing for him to address now because it's more and more you have people like Candace Owens, especially Candace Owens, in fairness to her. She's really spearheaded this NASA or a load of BS. She's really they're just a credit Freemason Satanists, basically, as far as she's concerned. But she's probably not too wrong. She spearheaded that. So people like David Icke were kind of going, maybe this is the time for me to address that. So, but I don't know. But they're definitely well behind us. How far behind us the average person is, I don't know. The average anti-flat earther, I was thinking earlier, what would be your thoughts on this? Like, the way I was thinking about this earlier is heliocentrism, right, is the biggest, by far, and most successful plantation of all time. It's just a case of whether the people who are slaves to it, whether they're going to want to move away from it. Because a lot of slaves could have left the plantation, they could have revolted over time, but they don't, and they didn't, because it's what they got used to. It's what they have food, they had a shelter. You know what I mean? It was like they were comfortable with it because it was familiar to them. Whereas freedom wasn't familiar to them, especially if they spent their whole life as a slave. So the idea of being freed might not have been something that was of any good to them. They might have not wanted to do it. So with heliocentrism, loads of people are enslaved to it intellectually, and they don't know it. And it comes down to whether they want to be freed or not, because a lot of them obviously don't. So I would call it a plantation. an intellectual plantation, not a physical plantation, obviously, not like not like in the past in history, but an intellectual plantation.
Yeah, the shame that they insist you must feel for being a flat earther. It's one of the biggest psyops you could ever think of. It's inconceivable, really.
Yeah, if you're a flat earther, it means you wanted your freedom. Do you know what I mean? And you chose freedom. And they want to shame people for choosing freedom because that scares them, that terrifies them. To be to accept it's not a globe. Do you know what I mean? Oh no, that's totally unfamiliar. I can't do that. You know, so they'll go against it, you know, as much as possible.
Right. Time to leave the live stream watchers and move into the after show phase of this slightly disastrous politics visit. I believe it is. So with that, I'll say if you are watching this on either Nathan Oakley 1980 or Nathan Oakley Premiering Streams, then stay tuned as there will be an after show to follow. Unfortunately, though, if you are watching this live, this is where we bid you farewell. So another massive thank you to both Discord and Politics, and my own Flat Earth Debate Discord server for making today's show possible. Of course, a massive thank you to all of you for liking, commenting, sharing, subscribing, joining as a Nathan Oakley 1980 channel member, and all that good stuff. I've been Nathan Oakley, and I will see you all in the next video.